I think we have a good number of folks here and we can go ahead and get started. May, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Finding Your Community at the Schar School of Policy and Government. My name is May Kadal, and I'm a rising senior at the Schar School, majoring in government and international politics with the concentration in international relations. We are so excited that you have joined us tonight. For the next 30 minutes or so, you'll hear from several members of the Schar School community. At the end of the panel, there will be a question and answer period with our panelists. We look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions throughout this session for the faculty or about anything related to the life as a Schar School student, you can submit them using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Our presenters may respond to the Q&A to some questions throughout the session, so keep an eye on that if you want to see what others are asking. We will also answer questions live at the end of the presentations. Let me welcome a fellow Schar School student and a recent graduate, Hadiya Abdul-Jalal.
Thanks, May. Hi, everyone. It's so great to have you all here tonight. Like May said, I just graduated with my BA in Government and International Politics, but I'm also a current master's student in the Bachelor's Accelerated Master's program that we have here. We would love to hear from you all more, so please make a note in the chat about where you're from, what you're thinking about majoring in, and for those of you thinking far ahead, what you dream of doing after college. Now, please let me introduce who y'all will be meeting today. First, you'll hear from Shanon Williams, our Director of Student Engagement at the Schar School. Then we'll have a faculty panel with Robert McGrath, our Undergraduate Program Director, and 3 professors who also lead our 3 undergraduate academic communities. We have Peter Mandeville, our Director of the First Year Learning Community, the Democracy Lab. We have Heba El-Shalsli, Director of our Undergraduate Research Community. And then we have Eric McGlitchy, Director of our International Relations Policy Task Force. We'll have a few minutes for Q&A, and then after there will be a current Schar School student panel with May and myself. Now, please let me hand it back to Shanon.
All right, so thank you, Hadiya and May, so much. And as Hadiya said, I am Shanon Williams. I'm the Director of Student Engagement here at the Schar School. And I just want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. You have just faced and overcome so many challenges to make it here over the last year and a half. And now as you look forward to the last year of high school, your college search may actually look very different than what you had imagined. But we here at Mason and at the Schar School are really looking forward to providing you with all kinds of opportunities to connect and to get to know our programs, our campus, our faculty, and other students every step of the way during your college search process. So we hope that you are joining us tonight because you, like us, are really energized by policy and politics. So this event is a chance for you to meet some of the professors and students who are engaging the big issues in government and in the world. So I'm going to share some of the ways that your Schar School college experience will prepare you to make a difference in your community and in the world. You're going to learn from professors with real world experience, and that experience is going to help you develop the skills and the knowledge that you need to be a leader, maybe to serve in a government agency, a nonprofit organization, maybe to develop public policies and programs, maybe to provide expert policy analysis for a business or a consulting firm. So while you're a student at the Schar School and after you graduate, you get to be a part of a vast network of our graduates who are doing really interesting things all over the world. We can help you make connections with those graduates. Schar School students can come to alumni events like career talks and networking activities to meet people. We have alumni who are at the United Nations, National Endowment for Democracy, Booz Allen Hamilton, all kinds of places, and we can help you make those connections. So a degree from the Schar School is going to give you credentials, it's going to give you experience to start an impactful career after graduation. And in our 2-degree programs, you'll have all kinds of opportunities to connect to jobs, internships, research, and really great experiences. So we have 2 undergraduate degrees. We have the BA in Government and International Politics, which is the traditional political science and international relations program. We also offer a BS in Public Administration, which prepares students to work in public service. And if you want to focus your studies for greater expertise, you can add a minor or a concentration in one of the many areas that we have, like economics or legal studies or international security. And you don't have to figure any of this out alone. You'll have a team of professional advisors, peer advisors, and success coaches who will help you identify your goals and make a plan for reaching them. And one of our advisors, Matt Green, is actually on the call tonight as well. We work closely with Mason's Career Services, so that you can get a full range of support to identify your goals and to reach those goals. We have industry advisors who provide guidance on things like internships and job searches, interview prep, networking skills, reviewing your resume and cover letters. And we also have really strong relationships with employers out in the field and in the world. And if you find that you want to continue your academic journey, we have a way for you to do that. The Bachelor Accelerated Master's Program lets you earn both a bachelor's degree and a graduate degree in one of Schar School's 6 master's programs at a lower cost, which saves you time and money. And Hadia, one of our students, is actually in the Bachelor Accelerated Master's Program. If you're thinking about law school, the Schar School houses Mason's pre-law undergraduate advising, which is known as Patriot Pre-Law. And a member of the Schar School faculty who is a career lawyer will help guide you as you prepare for the LSATs and as you write your application essay. Of course, the Schar School also recognizes that a vibrant student life is very important during the academic journey. So we have a Schar undergraduate student organization, the USO, which hosts things like debate watch parties and meetings. They have social events, and they even have a student-run podcast. We also partner with the Model United Nations, which has an active student group on campus. And we also have the Schar School faculty-led learning communities, which are really designed with connections in mind. So our other presenters, we're going to tell you about those shortly. So we want to hear more about your interests. So please, if you could take a minute and go to this Menti poll and let us hear a little bit more about what attracted you to the Schar School. So folks are interested in, we got 3 folks interested in international relations, international security, a lot of international government and politics, a few folks interested in pre-law, political behavior and identity politics. That's great. It's really helpful to see what you all are interested in. And there may be others of you that are still going to go to the poll. I'll keep it open so you can check that out. I'm going to see if this will let me change my screen again. Oh, we got another one, another pre-law. Okay, so that was great. Thank you. All right, so before I turn it over to Professor McGrath, this is your reminder that there will be plenty of opportunity for you to ask questions during the panel portions of the evening. And if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to put them in the Q&A. We are looking forward to having this conversation with you. We do look forward to getting to know you throughout the evening. So as Hadia said, please introduce yourself in the chat. We really do want to know who is here. So jump into my slides. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Professor McGrath.
Great. Thank you so much, Shannon. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy lives to virtually visit us at the Schar School this evening. I've been at Mason since 2011, and I absolutely love my school and my job, and I'm glad for the opportunity to speak with you all today. My favorite part of being a director is getting to introduce prospective students to the Schar School. So I'm really happy to help bring a little slice of our school's experience to your laptop screens, wherever you may be. And you're from all over the place from the conversation that's going on in the chat, which is great. At the Schar School, we have a world-renowned faculty covering a wide range of areas, including Congress, interest groups and lobbying, US and Chinese foreign policy, terrorism and corruption, international security, and pandemic response, to name just a few areas of strength. Further, we have practical resources that are rare even for the DC area. My colleagues range from former and potentially future Democratic Governor Terry McAuliffe to former Republican Member of Congress Tom Davis to former Secretary of Education in Virginia and former President of GMU Ann Holton. We encourage all of our students to pursue internships for optional academic credit and to take advantage of our proximity to the nation's capital. We have programs specifically geared toward connecting students to the policy world all around us. The Global Politics Fellows Program is an example. Here, cohorts of students take classes together on our Arlington campus a few days a week, while they spend the rest of their time interning in Arlington or in DC. This is a popular program that pairs well with internships in both the public and private sectors. Other opportunities include our innovative government analytics minor that provides marketable skills in computer programming and data science, paired with practical emphasis on policy applications. These and connections to the policy world existed before and during the pandemic, and we will persist as we get all vaccinated and back into classrooms. In addition to all that has made the Schar School the best school of policy and government in the region, we are excited to introduce to you all a series of learning communities that will supplement and enhance the Schar School experience. As you'll learn from our community directors assembled here today, these programs provide opportunities for you to come together around common interests, develop new skills, and broaden your networks, all while making friends, traveling to DC, and earning academic credit. I'm happy to be joined today by my colleagues, Professors Peter Mandeville, Hebel Shazli, and Eric McGlinchey. Peter Mandeville is a professor at the Schar School and specializes in the comparative study of religious authority and social movements in the Muslim world. In addition to teaching at Mason, writing acclaimed books and articles, and publishing for popular magazines, Professor Mandeville has extensive governmental experience and is Senior Research Fellow at the Berkeley Center for Religion, Peace, and World Affairs, a non-resident Senior Fellow at the Brookings Institution, and the Director of Mason's Ali Vural Ak Center for Global Islamic Studies. Professor Mandeville will direct our exciting first-year living and learning community, the Democracy Lab. Welcome, Peter. Hebel Shazli is an assistant professor in the Schar School and will soon be taking the reins from me to direct our school's undergraduate programs. You will be in good hands when you get here. Professor El Shazli is an award-winning instructor of international relations, Middle Eastern politics, and political Islam. Her research work is highly valued inside and outside of government. Professor El Shazli is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and her work with trade unions, political institutions, political parties, and NGOs has taken her around the globe to share her expertise. Professor El Shazli will be directing our undergraduate community, focusing on undergraduate research. Welcome, Heba. Finally, Eric McGlinchey is an associate professor at the Schar School and an expert on comparative politics, specifically in Central Asia. Professor McGlinchey's work has been published widely in academic journals and university press books, and he is increasingly involved with governmental work and with analyzing US foreign policy toward the post-Soviet world. He's recently won large grants from the National Science Foundation, the US Department of State, and the US Department of Defense, among others. Professor McGlinchey will be building on his graduate school experience at Princeton to create and direct an international policy task force at GMU. Welcome, Eric. I'm going to turn things over now to Professor Mandeville to get us started, but I will be back to moderate a question and answer period afterwards. So please send any and all questions that you have through the Q&A function in the Zoom. Peter, take it away.
Thank you, Rob. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to meet all of you tonight, and let me echo Rob's thanks for making the time to learn about the Schar School and to visit us here. So every first-year student at George Mason University participates in a learning community. And the purpose of these communities is to give you space and time outside the classroom to deepen your engagement with the issues and questions you care about most, and to do so alongside new friends and peers and with the guidance of the fantastic faculty and mentors that we have here. Your first year in college can sometimes be intimidating, particularly at a large top-class research university like Mason. But these learning communities instantly give you a home, sort of access to faculty, and a smaller scale experiential learning environment that feels much more like a close community and something like what you would find at a smaller liberal arts college. So at the Schar School, we call our first year learning community the Democracy Lab because we run it as a space for exploring and looking in close detail at the various forces that both promote and challenge democracy at home and abroad, around the world today. Each fall, all students in the learning community take the same class together. It's an introduction to democracy class, but then the Democracy Lab picks up outside the classroom to offer you a forum for meeting other students who share your interests and passion for politics, policy, and civic life, a discussion lounge for engaging key issues of the day in a more relaxed sort of coffee house style environment, and also a hub for special programs and a speaker series that features leading experts from the Schar School, as well as policymakers, activists, and leaders from Washington, D.C. and around the world. So what topics and themes do we focus on? All the big issues that shape our discussions about what democracy means today: race, gender and sexuality, inequality, immigration, voting and elections, but also things like disinformation, artificial intelligence, big data, biotechnology, all those issues on the horizon, you name it. And the second half of each year's Democracy Lab gets more hands-on and focused on real-world applications, skills, and experiences. Students have the opportunity to pursue an individualized project where they learn the art of crafting a policy recommendation memo that looks exactly like those used to tee up decisions for senior government officials. I used to personally brief and write these memos for former Secretaries of State Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. And so I will take you through the process of figuring out exactly how you tee up those big foreign policy type decisions. You also have the option of doing a different kind of project where you would learn the presentation technology skills that you need to create a digital advocacy portfolio around an issue that you care about. The Democracy Lab then culminates in a field trip to downtown Washington, D.C., where you'll have the opportunity to engage and share your work with the people who are actually leading on these same issues in government. So that's the Democracy Lab, and we will be so excited to welcome you into it. But learning community opportunities at the Schar School don't stop after your first year. I'm going to hand things over to my colleagues, Dr. Heba Shazili and Dr. Eric McGlinchey, to give you some information about additional academic communities. These are sort of our power-up communities that will become available to you as you advance in your academic careers here at the Schar School. Heba?
Heba, you're muted.
I know, I am so sorry for how many times I've done this, you know, it's just, sorry. All right, thank you very much. And truly it's a pleasure to be with you all. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction, and Rob. And thank you everyone from all over the United States for being with us this evening, so we can share some of the excellent programs and educational opportunities at the I've been teaching at the Schar School now for 6 years, and boy, it's gone by like a flash because I've been having a lot of fun. I tell my students that I used to have a job before I came to the Schar School, so you can tell that I really don't look at my work and teaching at the Schar School as a job. It's a mission that I truly, truly enjoy. So before I came to George Mason, I worked in the international development, non-governmental organizations world. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but I worked with the State Department. I worked with USAID, an organization called the National Endowment for Democracy. Yes, we were talking about democracy and democracy promotion around the world. I worked in Central and Eastern Europe at an amazing time, 1989. I'm going to ask you, maybe you can write in the chat, what happened in 1989 in Central and Eastern Europe, particularly in Berlin. So I'm giving you a tip. And then I spent a good part of my career, about 15 years or so, working in the Middle East and North Africa. So I've got a lot of things to share in terms of stories, connections, career prep, and also access to our professors in terms of at our school, but also outside of our community in the Washington, DC area. So we focus on all these things at the Schar School, and for us it's very important. I always talk to my students about life after Mason on their first day on campus. So because it is important to start thinking about those things. So now I will be directing, and I'm very excited about this, a new community titled Undergraduate Research Community. So what does that mean? Basically, it means that you will become a super excellent academic detective. Detective meaning searching for information and solving puzzles, solving questions. And I think that's really pretty cool. So it's an academic detective is the way I like to look at conducting research. So we're going to focus on tools, types, methods of research, what is it all about, talk with experts in the field, visit actual places where research is a priority, such as, for example, the Library of Congress and the Congressional Research Service, for example. Now, research is used for writing reports, it goes into legislation, it goes into so many aspects of government and international relations. So it's a key skill, actually. And it's very much connected, actually, with research and writing. The two are very much connected. So we are going to have the same kinds of things like Professor Mandeville talked about in terms of a sort of a coffee house vibe. We will have coffee tea, and I'm trying to get those nice chocolate covered cookies. And we will have discussions about specific areas that you're interested in. We'll have speakers coming in. Also, every student will receive a copy of a fabulous book called Guide to Methods for Political Science Students. And you'll also learn how to prepare an academic poster, how to present your research to an academic as well as a non-academic audience. So all those aspects we will talk about, as well as also a field trip. And as I mentioned, to a place like the Congressional Research Service, or the Council on Foreign Relations, where I'm a member, or another think tank called the Brookings Institution that you'll get to know about. Some of the topics for our guest speakers, they'll talk about research design. How do you design your research? What kind and how in terms of qualitative versus quantitative? I know, big words, but actually we'll break it down and it will become incredibly comfortable. Research methodology. Also, how do you develop a survey? What is a focus group? How do you basically interview people? Which is also another very important skill. And then meet our library. I don't know when the last time that you went to a library. Today we do so much of this online, but you know, there's something also about actually going to the place and touching the books and being there in that wonderful atmosphere. You can tell I'm totally a book nerd. So anyway, wonderful, wonderful to be with you. I look forward to your questions. Now let's hear about another super interesting learning community, the International Policy Task Force, from Professor Eric McGlinchey.
Thank you, Heba. And funny you should talk about the library. One of the things that I was most excited about when I heard that we're going to be moving our offices, we're moving from one building to another building, is we're going to be closer to the library. And the library at Mason is just a wonderful, wonderful place. So I second what Heba just said. We've got fantastic resources, and hopefully that'll be a place that you'll grow to love as well. So I just want to say thanks for joining this session today. I am really thrilled that you're interested in Mason and the Schar School and these learning communities. As Professor McGrath mentioned, I'm modeling the IR Policy Task Force after the policy task forces that I participated in as an advisor when I was a grad student at Princeton. And my undergraduate friends at Princeton, they repeatedly told me that this was the highlight of their time at Princeton. The task forces gave them the opportunity to take knowledge that they learned in the classroom and apply it to the real world problems, not just kind of ethereal questions that we study as academics. And so this is exactly the objective of the Schar School Task Force. There'll be 3 areas that we will be focusing on next year. Now, these areas are going to change from year to year. And when you come in, if there's particular areas that you're interested in, send me an email. And maybe that'll be one of the areas for the following year. But for next year, we're going to look at LGBTQ+ and gender rights in U.S. foreign policy. Actually, in foreign policy broadly, it doesn't have to be just U.S. foreign policy. The second area will be empowering local communities responding to global climate change. And then the third area, we probably don't want to talk about this because we've been living it, but still I think it's very important, COVID-19 and responding to the next global pandemic. So those are going to be the 3 areas that students will be focusing on next year in the IR Policy Task Force. The members are going to have the freedom to research a specific topic underneath this umbrella topic. So just to give you one example, I've been working with a student who's been exploring how the U.S. government might support the LGBTQ plus community in Kyrgyzstan, a country where I do a lot of research, and specifically how this community can protect itself against what is often very violent attacks on its members. So that would be a specific area that a student could carve off within this broader topic of LGBTQ plus and gender rights and foreign policy. After analyzing the problems, students will draft potential policy responses. And at the end of the semester, each of these 3 groups will combine their individual projects into a collective group brief. The 3 groups will present their briefs to a policy expert. So in a sense, echoing what Professor Mandeville will be doing at the end of their learning community year. And this will be a policy expert who is actively working in one of the areas of the 3 task forces. And then the other thing that students will do is they're going to actually publish their policy briefs to our IR policy task force website. And this is so their findings, they're not just put away in a filing cabinet, but so your findings can be enduring and can be referenced by policymakers and analysts in the years to come. Many of my Princeton friends found the task forces and the communities that grew around their task forces to be the pinnacle of their undergraduate studies. I'm excited to bring a similar experience to the Schar School, and I think we actually have one advantage that Princeton doesn't, and that is our location. Mason and the Schar School in particular have extensive connections with the DC area policy community. Professor McGrath pointed to some of those in his opening comments. We have connections with think tanks. Heba was talking about that, and she herself is a member of one of the most prominent think tanks with nonprofits, with the U.S. government, also with foreign governments. And we will be inviting these experts to our seminars throughout the semester, and we will also be visiting these experts in their own places of work. So the IR task force, this is going to allow you to apply your studies to make real and enduring contributions to global and local policy challenges. And I hope I have the chance to work with you, and I really look forward to answering any questions you may have when we get to the Q&A. So thanks again for your attention, and I really look forward to hearing from you.
Great, thank you, Eric, and thank you to all of our wonderful learning community directors. Questions have been coming in, but we've been quite efficient in answering them in using the Q&A function. So please keep them coming. I want to bring up something that I believe it was Dane mentioned. He mentioned they asked how beneficial is proximity to Washington D.C. Professor Mandeville gave a take in the Q&A box, as did I, and Professor McGlinchey just mentioned that advantage as well. So I want to open it up to see if anybody else has any other great little anecdotes about why it's so great to be close to DC. My favorite one is running by the monuments. It's inspiring for somebody like me who doesn't like to run so much, but likes to stay physically fit. Professor McGlinchey, on the other hand, will run 100 miles in the middle of nowhere, but it's inspiring. It's just inspiring to be very close to history in that way, and the center of the action.
Rob, I had one thing to add to that, and Heba, I'm sorry, I just cut you off. Okay, I should have raised my hand. So I guess, one thing that I would say that is a huge advantage is if you look at how students apply to internships, most students will apply to internships for the summer, and so there's a huge pool of students who are applying for DC area internships in the summertime. Schar students can apply for internships whenever, right? And so you've got the fall and the spring semester, and there's often a very large demand for internships that isn't met by the pool of students available. So you have a huge advantage in getting internships with the places where you want to intern because you're physically here, and that makes a big difference. And I've had several, dozens actually, of undergraduate students who I've later gone on to give a briefing somewhere in the intelligence community or at the State Department, and lo and behold, across the table is a former student of mine who had done an internship in that particular agency and is now working in that agency. So I think it's a wonderful benefit that you can't replicate in many other universities just by dint of our location.
Yeah, Yep. If I may, I can echo that. Absolutely. Actually, one of my former students invited me to come speak at an event at the Foreign Service Institute, and I was just thrilled. So, so I've had also another one at the German Marshall Fund, which is another very interesting organization for those of you who are interested, particularly in European politics. And you all know German Marshall Fund. Okay, so anyway, absolutely fantastic. Why another good reason for being in the DC area? I'm going to say the fantastic libraries like the Library of Congress, which is the best in the world, to go to the reading room. I call it the great room, and literally, they will bring the book to you. So, and you can get a reader's card. And anyway, it's very exciting, so you can actually do research there. So that's one excellent reason. Another is I love the theater, so and the arts. So for those of you who like music and so on, there's a lot of live and open air concerts actually. There's some by the Washington Monument. There's a theater down there. It's kind of hidden on the side, and it's a wonderful place to listen to music for free, actually. Oh, and we have the best museums, absolutely the best museums. Okay, yes, I say the best. I'm biased, and they're free.
The best free museums for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's a great thing about strolling around the mall, just popping into museums here and there. In the post-pandemic world, you have to schedule in advance these days, but that actually is good because you're assured that the museum's not as crowded as it otherwise would be. I just want to mention just very, very quickly on this point, it's not just proximity to Washington, D.C. It's being in Northern Virginia is important as well. The Northern Virginia economy isn't just government. It's contracting for government as well as government, but it's also now data. A lot of data farms out here, a lot of IT work. And then of course, that's even before talking about Amazon. So if you're coming to Mason from another place, usually when you go to college from another place, you're attracted to the job market in that area. And the job market in Northern Virginia is very good in government and data areas. So that's another advantage of being here. People get stuck here. It's called Beltway fever. And I think that people get it for politics, but they also just get it for the area. It's very nice. I mentioned in the chat before that I'm from New Jersey, and Northern Virginia is sort of the good parts of Northern New Jersey without all of the bad parts. It's got the traffic, but
well, Rob,
really
also the connections with the alumni, because within the Northern Virginia area, the George Mason has a very broad and wide alumni community, and they're always anxious and very helpful and very interested in helping students. So,
excellent, great. I see another question has come in the Q&A. Selena asks, how much do you think these things will change in 5 years? Things move fast these days, right? So next year I'll be a senior, and after 4 years in the Air Force, thank you for your service, Selena. Just like to know, one of the top places hasn't changed that much. Well, I can tell you that George Mason as a university will probably have changed a lot in 5 years. When I got here in 2011, we were in a building called Robinson Hall, which now does not exist anymore. It's been completely demolished and replaced with an absolutely stunning new building. So campus is constantly changing architecturally. But I think that the university in that time period has been on a steady upward trajectory. If you look at rankings, we moved from whatever a non-research intensive university was to a research intensive university over that time. Enrollment in the university has been steadily increasing. Now, what's going to happen in politics in 5 years? I don't know. But I think that the university is certainly going in a good place. Hadia wants to answer part of that as well.
Oh, no, I was just making sure this answer live for you. But yes, physically it's going to change, but we definitely have a lot of different programs here that are being created. 4 years ago, we didn't have these democracy labs and international relations communities. So it's definitely only getting better. So can't wait to have you be a part of the Mason community after your 4 years in the Air Force.
Great, thank you, Hadia. Matt is typing an answer to Heather. Maybe we can save you some from some carpal tunnel there.
All right, yeah, sure. So hi everybody, I'm Matt. So Heather, one thing you want to keep in mind is law schools actually don't care about your major. You could come in and be a chemistry major and they would be like, whatever. They care about three things, for better or for worse. They care about your LSAT score, they care about your GPA, and they care about your personal statement, and that is it. So while there's a lot of support in the Schar School for people looking at law, and we have an excellent pre-law advising program, and studying here will give you a good background that once you get into law school, you won't have to play the kind of catch-up a chemistry major would. And I've known lawyers who have gone the science track, came in, and they were like, man, I wish I'd taken more American government courses because I really had to hustle. So we can prep you for it, but the actual process for getting into law school has everything to do with LSAT, GPA, and that personal statement. So whether it would be, if we had a pre-law track of like formal program here, or if I'm referring to one elsewhere, typically it's recommended that you just go with a normal major and then apply to law school from that. So the short version is we don't have a formal pre-law program, but you don't need one to get into law school. So does that answer your question?
Great. Thank you so much, Matt. Matt's one of our advisors, as he was introduced earlier. So now you've heard from faculty members and program directors for our new learning communities and from one of our great advisors. I want to change tacks now and shift things over to the student perspective. So I don't know if Shannon, if you want to introduce the student panel, and then keep the questions coming in the Q&A. We can always answer with typing.
Yep, we have a lot of folks here who are really eager to answer questions. So yeah, put those right into the Q&A. So thank you to all of you for all of the faculty who presented. This is really useful information, but it's also really exciting to hear from students as well. So we want to hear a little bit more about life at Mason and what it's like being a student in the Schar School. So what I'd like to do is have Hadia and May each just introduce themselves briefly, and then we can field some of the questions that might be coming in about what it's like to be a student within Mason and the Schar School. Hadia, do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Yes. Again, my name's Hadia. I just graduated this past May with my BA in Government International Politics, but with a concentration in International Relations. Also, I'm in the Bachelor's Accelerated Master's program specifically for public policy, and I plan to graduate with my master's next May in 2022. But as far as my Mason experience, I had the pleasure of not only being a Schar School student liaison during my last year, but I was also an undergrad research assistant starting my sophomore year. So that's really great. I know May was as well. I've held 3 internships during my time here at Capitol Hill and 2 with Department of State, but I also was a global politics fellow. So there are so many things you can do here at Mason during your time. And back to you, May.
Thank you. As mentioned before, this fall, I will start my senior year at Mason, and I'll also be part of the Global Politics Fellow Program that is taking place at the Arlington campus. In my time at the Schar School so far, I have participated in the Undergraduate Research Assistant Program, URAP for short, with Professor Shazli, who is with us in this call, this past spring semester, as well as the internship program where I entered at several nonprofits in DC throughout my sophomore and junior year, in addition to being also a student liaison at the Schar School this past year.
Great, thank you both so much. As we're waiting for questions to come into the chat or Q&A, maybe May, could you talk a little bit more about the undergraduate research experience that you have and what kinds of projects you worked on, since we're talking a bit about undergraduate research community tonight?
Yes, of course. So just like I mentioned, I was part of a 5-people team with Professor Hiba. We worked about Palestinian politics and governance, including civil society organizations. We kind of briefly wrote a book proposal, different chapters focusing on Palestinian politics, from the history to the politics to the foreign policy, and just enhancing my research skills, looking for sources, and in that aspect.
great, thank you. And Hadia, I think there's already a question in the Q&A that you're going to answer about living on campus.
Yes, great question, Alex. So here at Mason, you get housing, which is amazing because housing is difficult, but for my first 2 years living on campus, it really was great just because I was close to everything, close to not only my school specific facilities, but also closer to dining and friends. So it's a nice community to make. But then once you start getting internships and jobs, sometimes, yes, you still have your freedom. You're in college to come in and out of your residence halls as much as you like. I did want kind of a closer commute to the metro, but also to different part-time jobs that I would hold in the Fairfax area. So it just made sense for me to live off campus as well. But you definitely have the pros and cons of living both on and off campus. It just depends where you are in your stage in your undergrad career, whether you have more of your professional but also academic life on campus. But sometimes you could find yourself more in DC at times. So just letting you know that it really just depends on where you are and what you're just interested in doing with your time here. But both are great experiences. Mason helps a lot with on-campus students, but also off-campus students finding housing as well.
That's great, thank you. So we got a question that was sort of sent just to the panelists in the chat, and it was specifically about interning at the Pentagon or White House. And I don't have those numbers specifically, and maybe Matt does, and he's going to type an answer to that. But I'm curious if May and Hadia, you both have had some internships. Could you talk a little bit, not just about your internship experience, but maybe how you found it and what kind of support you got and how you, like what the overall experience of getting the internship, doing the internship, and how it sort of was a part of your education. And I'm going to call on May first.
Yeah. So just like I mentioned, I've interned at several nonprofits. One of them was actually through Handshake, which is like a website for GMU students that you can easily navigate through. You can update your profile every now and then, and just like put preferences of like what you're looking for. And we also have the Career Services Center that actually helps in like writing resumes, cover letters, if like you want to prepare for an interview, which I found very helpful, especially it was like during my first 2 years at Mason. And just like everyone mentioned before, the proximity to DC was also helpful just because, you can just hop on the metro and just be there in like about 20 minutes.
Yeah, just to echo May, Handshake's amazing. If you guys, once you get into the job search, Indeed, Monster, but USA Jobs, Handshake is specifically for like college students. If you're looking for things within the area, the northern DC, Maryland area, it's really great. But also the career service, I can't plug that enough, like May said. They are there to help you. I know I always made one specific appointment in the fall and spring, just so I know my cover letter, but also my resume was spot on. But they also helped with my bachelor's, accelerated master's application as well, like reading over it and telling me different things to add. So it's really great resource. I highly recommend using them.
I just want to jump in and sing the praises of career services. They're particularly good for the types of internships that our students look for, which sometimes include seeking security clearances. Things like I don't have that, and I don't know how to do that, but our career services do, as do many of our faculty members know how to navigate that process. So if you're looking to intern at the Pentagon or the State Department or something like that, you might be looking through that security clearance process, which is Byzantine at best.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's one question in the chat that says, how expensive would it be to live near or on campus? Being a highly populated area, I'd imagine it'd be expensive. I'm sure we all have a lot of thoughts about that, but it would be great to hear from the students who have lived both on and off campus about what that's like. Either one of you can jump in who has lived. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So I lived on campus, like I said, my first 2 years. It was really great. Because not only did you live on campus, but also you have a meal plan when you live on campus. And it's really nice because you don't have a full-size kitchen usually. So within that meal plan, they help you out because of that. So it's kind of a nice deal you have there. But then living near campus, you will definitely need roommates. I didn't say roommate, you need roommates, plural, it's nice. But I will say our housing department, our off-campus specific department, do a really great job of helping you actually find residence, but apartments near the Mason campus that's affordable, but also that it's like Mason approved because other students have lived there as well. So you're not just living in a random part of town where no one lives or no one goes. They actually help say this is closest to this bus or this specific shuttle that Mason goes to, and you can get a ride from there. I know I was able to find actually housing just through organization I was part of at Mason, and we're like, hey, who wants to live with us? And it's kind of like their organization's house for people who were still in college. So you definitely will find someone during your upperclassmen years of living off campus, but living on campus definitely has its perks as well. It just depends where you are financially as well, but also just the convenience of it. If you want your food on campus or off, both are great choices.
Anything to add, May?
I've always lived off campus, so whatever Hadia said, I totally agree. For finding roommates, because it can get a bit expensive.
But there's some pretty great communities around campus, which can be really nice to live in too. All right, so there's one more question. I think we have a time for about one more. If any from Torsten, oh, there's another one too. We'll see how quick we can get these in. From Torsten, if anyone has taken any internship with government officials or agencies, how would you say that it has impacted you in your future? Torsten will be attending the National Youth Leadership something for National Security, Defense, and Diplomacy and Intelligence, sponsored by George Mason, so the NYLF. So any thoughts? I think, Hadia, you did an internship with an agency. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, well, first, congratulations. That's a great achievement in your organization. I did 2 internships with the State Department my fall junior year and fall senior year. And I actually just got an interview to actually work where I was in my fall senior year. So hopefully that goes well, but I will say, thank you all. Hopefully it's almost done with the job search. But I will say how it's impacted me is just the connections of it all. Everyone's saying networking will probably be the word of your 4 years of an undergraduate. But it really does matter, because when I was during my fall internship this past senior year, how I learned about the different contacting companies or the just different places or time periods when specific job openings happen. I learned from someone who had just graduated 2 years before me, and she gave me a whole list. And I reached out to her. I say, thank you so much for giving to this to me, because you don't know unless you really ask. I think that's the biggest thing when you're in internship positions, because I want to work here 2 years after I graduate. So definitely asking what different steps you can go to, but just take different coffees with people, because not everyone's journey into different agency and government official office is got to be the same. So just hear from so many different people to learn the best way for you going into it. That's my biggest tip for you all.
Thank you. Thanks so much to both of you, to both May and Hadia. And we always encourage everybody, feel free to get in touch with us. We can put you in touch with a student if you have more questions. I know there's a lot more questions coming in, which we can try to type answers to as well. I think Matt, Hadia, May, and all of the faculty will be happy to type answers during our last few minutes here. But I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to both of you. I'm going to take your spotlight off. And then I want to just make sure that we have a minute to share 1 or 2 more pieces just of information about kind of next steps, because there might be some questions about that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just let you all know about some of the things that you can be thinking about as you're thinking ahead about applying. If you do decide you want to apply to Mason, the applications for fall 2022 are going to open on August 1st. So you can open that application and start it and submit it as early as August 1st if you'd like. But the early application deadline to actually apply early action, which allows you some added flexibility around opportunities at Mason, is November 1st. We will continue to accept applications after that point, but early action is the deadline you might be going for if you want to get a head start on your college application process. As I mentioned in one of the Q&A questions, you are going to want to submit your federal application for student financial aid, which you will hear referred to a lot of times as FAFSA. And the FAFSA is what allows you to find out what your financial aid package is. And the FAFSA will also open you up to some of the scholarship opportunities that are at Mason. However, if you have any questions about how all of this works, please get in touch with our admissions office, admissions@gmu.edu. They can help you walk through all of the different things that you need to be thinking about. Like, for example, if you're trying to decide, if I apply early action, does that mean that my fall classes that I take my senior year aren't going to count? They can help you decide whether or not it would be fine to do that, or whether it would be useful to take an extra class to get those grades up. They can help you look at your GPA and make some of those decisions. So please contact your admissions counselor. You can also find a specific admissions counselor who's assigned to your region at the link that I have on here. You can also just find that at the Mason admissions website. But you can meet a specific person who knows your area and might even be connected with your high school. And I know we also got some questions about financial aid and scholarships. Mason has a number of different kinds of scholarships available to students based on, mostly based on merit, but sometimes there's some other criteria. But we also have within the Schar School, the Schar Scholars Program, which is for select incoming first-year students. So when you apply to Mason, you automatically get considered for that Schar Scholars Program. Now, FAFSA is one of the ways that you can make sure that you get considered, but you don't have to have residency or citizenship concerns. So not all students who have citizenship can apply for FAFSA, but that's okay. You can still apply for the scholarships by applying to Mason. So we just want to make sure that everybody knows that I know not everybody has documentation, so we do have those opportunities available for you to get scholarships. Don't shy away from asking those questions of the admissions counselor. They help all kinds of students, whether you're in-state, out-of-state, international, documented or undocumented. They can help you figure out the best way to get your application in at Mason. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. If anybody has any last questions that they want to ask, or if any of our panelists have any last comments that they want to make before we kind of wrap up, is there anything else that's lingering out there? Okay, I'm hearing crickets. All right, well then one more final screen to share. I'm going to share with you all just how to get in touch with us. So if you want to find out more, you can contact us at sharuaa@gmu.edu, and somebody from the Schar School, might be Matt, it might be me, it might be one of the faculty, somebody will get back in touch with you. We have a phone number as well, and of course you can always look at our website to find out all of the different great opportunities that are out there. I know there are probably a lot of questions that didn't get answered yet in our presentation, so please feel free to reach out. We are so grateful that you came tonight, and we wish you the best of luck with your college search. Thank you.